It was a time period.
Yeah.
The dude had
Yeah.
It was their song.
He had a solid flow.
Yeah. Oh, is he the dude with the big red hair? Yeah.
I wonder how much of it he has left.
Is he still Carrot Top, or is he just like straight balding? We're getting there. I'm getting there.
Same.
Yeah, right. It's the move nowadays.
The struggle was real, man.
Yeah. It's a movement, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Balding.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're really coming to your own.
Yeah, dude. Hair loss.
Hair loss.
Yes.
Long-awaited moment here for myself on
Yes.
the podcast.
And for us.
Yeah,
I got the homies in Back Alley Sound.
Hey.
Jordan, Shark, Miles, make
Hey.
some noise.
Hey.
Say hello to the internet.
Hello, interwebs. Are we looking at that camera? That's gotta
you know
be.
what I respect.
Moo?
No, yeah, I mean, we met probably about a year ago now.
Probably, yeah.
At this point, I mean, I've known Miles like loosely for a while, but I didn't know who the hell either of you
Yeah,
two
those
fucking
fucking
weirdos
weirdos.
were.
That's fair.
Until about a year
Yeah.
ago, because it was last June or May or June when there was that thing at Karma. That place doesn't exist anymore.
Shindig on Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was an interesting time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And now we've been friends ever since. I've been wanting to
Hell
get you on the podcast ever
Yeah.
since, but didn't really have a good reason to have you on. I was fucking lazy and not recording music, or maybe you were recording it and not releasing it. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
get into it. Well, not lazy, just busy. You're playing a lot of shows. You're doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into all that today, from playing shows, promoting shows,
Yeah.
curating a community, getting people together to solidify a new niche in the scene. We're going to get into all that.
Hell yeah.
But we should start with Long Gone, which is the single that you finally released. You finally get something together and it's one
Yes.
song.
Yeah, we're those guys.
It's fine. It sounds great.
Thank
Good
you,
job.
Thank you.
Good job on that.
Yeah, we're really proud of that. And it feels good to actually have something out.
Was
after-
that so? Is that really just going to be that one song for now?
for now?
I wasn't sure if maybe that was
For
like
now.
a single drop for a bigger project that you had.
I
already
mean,
done.
We have 2 others done, but we're debating on do we want to drop them or do we want to just move forward with new stuff and focus on that?
Yeah, I understand. So you do have more stuff. You're just kind of like,
Yeah, see, our I mean, for us, because we're kind of like a hip hop band, is that we recording as a band is a lot slower than doing just like the rapper thing, where you can just buy beats, or even if you produce your own, it's kind of a quick process.
I mean,
But yeah,
preaching to the choir, dude.
Yeah, you know the whole
I know you
band
don't have
thing.
any experience. in
Right,
this
yeah.
matter,
Well, no, I mean for other people that maybe aren't in bands or any rappers that might be listening to this, it is definitely a much different
Yeah,
environment.
It takes a long time.
Especially if you are in a band where everybody contributes somewhat to
Yeah.
the song. It's not
Mhm.
just like one person that writes everything. And
Oh
then-
yeah.
Right.
I feel like it's a pretty even like input with everyone. We really write just by jamming.
Yeah.
We'll start doing something and it'll morph into a jam, and then we'll be like, oh, that's a good idea.
Right.
And it turns into a song. And so we have a lot of material. We have like too many songs, kind of.
Right.
There's a lot.
Yeah, we definitely have like over an album's worth of material. It's just it's expensive to record as a band, and we're all real
Right.
poor, so it's a
It's
slow
also
process.
because sometimes there's a song and it's like, yo, this is really cool, but if it doesn't naturally like fit in the set, it's like, oh, that's still a really cool song, but like
Yeah.
it's not really working with the overall product right
So
now.
with Back Alley Sound, and genre wise, like
Mhm.
you kind of, you tiptoe between a couple different worlds.
Yeah.
And with the songs that you write, I imagine there might be some songs that are good for certain shows depending on
Yeah.
who you play with and things like that. Although you play with like the same fucking people all the time. So
No,
Yeah.
it
I'm
does-
going to pick on you a lot
Right,
just because I
that's
like
sweet.
you.
that's-
Hell yeah,
don't
yeah,
get
yeah,
into it.
please, don't at us, man.
But that again, that's another point that I was talking about getting like the community of people together that you have, because you are doing all of these events together, and we'll get there when we get there. But in terms of just songwriting and Back Alley Sound, like how do you consider back alley sound? I guess just a hip hop band. Is that the easiest way to put it?
That's
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know what the fuck to call Sykes and the New Violence.
Right,
Right,
right.
right.
It's like
It's hard to
you flirt with
qualify yourself.
genres, but it's always like working towards a goal. And I guess if our overall goal is to go somewhere, it would be in the vein of hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe like jazz influenced, but like nobody's like, we're not jazz musicians by any means, but you know,
Yeah.
I
just
feel-
more lo-fi and chilled out.
I feel like in 2019, there's like music with instruments and music without instruments.
Yeah.
Those are the two genres.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
That's actually really
So
true.
it's like, what kind of music do you play? The kind with instruments. All right, figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's been a struggle for us for a long time. Like we've called it alt hop, we've called it riff hop, we've called it
Right.
full band.
And nobody knows
hip-hop.
what the fuck any of that is.
I know
Right.
exactly.
Like-
So it's like why
Which
call
is
it,
kind of fun in a way.
Yeah.
Like to put it out as like,
Full
you
band
know,
hip hop, is that like Wu-Tang Clan?
Right,
Like,
like
yeah.
we originally were like branding it as dinosaur hop rock, and they were like,
no.
okay, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
You
we
can only get away with that if people actually care about what
Right,
you're doing.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's definitely facts. I definitely think that like not being able to like define the like genre exactly is what has also been like a contributing factor to our like song writing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It helps a lot whenever like you don't have a box or a label because you can kind of just bring any idea to the table and it's not like, oh, well, that's, you know, that's not heavy enough for us or that's
Right.
not chill enough for us. It's like, whatever, we are what we are. So if we come up with something, it's us.
Yeah.
And that's tight.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, we've written a lot, and you know, looking back, sometimes we're like, well, that's like not hip hop enough, and that's really we do want to move more in the hip hop direction,
Okay.
and still be able to pull from like the jazz and the rock and the
Right.
funk and like all the different influences we have, but
I imagine that can be kind of a hard struggle because that was something that was hard for Sykes with wanting to move more in a hip hop direction coming from such a strong rock background.
right,
Yeah.
But having like an appreciation for hip hop. But like when I started making music, all the music I was listening to, it's like a rock background. So it's
Right.
always been in there, which isn't like a bad thing as far as I'm concerned.
no,
But it's like I do get tired of people saying like I remind them of like Limp Bizkit and Rage Against the Machine.
right. you
Nothing
know,
wrong with
Yeah.
either of those bands,
Yeah.
but it's just like that's like not where I'm coming
right,
from.
Right,
It's just so
you
weird.
know.
But as soon as I feel like if there's a guitar and somebody rapping, it's like immediately you're
everybody's
gonna
like,
get that.
oh man, that's Limp
For
Bizkit,
sure.
or that's you know whatever they can try to classify it as. And I think we had when we initially started out, we did have a tough transition period for like
Mhm.
6 months because you know it came out of the situation where most of the people in the band were playing like Arctic Monkeys kind of stuff. So like trying to dive into hip hop when we had very little experience
So
in it
what-
outside of listening to
What
it.
what made you guys want to start back alley
Oh,
sound or
dude,
like
Oh,
like
that's a
go in that
crazy story.
direction?
I do love how that worked out. So I was in a band for a while that did all right and toured and had fun. And then we got towards the end of playing. Like we were kind of like, okay, like we're done. And we still had like a bunch of shows booked. And there came a situation where our singer and our drummer were like, there's no way we can make this show. And it was for the first Indie Rock Fest. And my good friend Matt Majot, I looked at him and I was like, dude, we have this show booked. Like we've been playing long enough. Why don't we make something fun in a situation where we're not exactly having fun? Like, let's go jam. Like you're telling me we can't like put this together in like a few days and just go have fun. So, you know, he had been talking about Shark forever. So we're like, let's just go jam and have him freestyle over it. And we played a show and we got through it. You know, to say the least, like, it was cool, but it was dudes playing hard rock over like Shark spitting. And then we had a show literally the next week, another one that was booked. And the drummer who played the first show was like, I can't make it. And also like, I also don't think I can do this in the future. And I called like 7 or 8 drummers, like everybody I knew. And everybody was like, dude, I have a gig. Dude, I have a gig. Like everything. And I'm like, fuck, dude, it's like 2 days away. And I was like, I knew Jordan and I was really always trying to get him to play drums with like any project I was in. And he was always like, man, I'm busy. And then I was like, yo, you want to fill in for this show in 2 days? And you showed up like an hour before the show, and jammed with us, and you were like, I got it.
It was crazy. I think
I got it.
I walked into the practice space and met Shark for the first time at like 6 p.m. and then I think we played at like 10 that night, and it was just, this is it, let's throw it together. We did it, and at that point I actually I stopped playing drums. I just wanted to be a singer, actually. So I took a few years to just learn how to sing, and I was like, you know what? Like, I had already said yes to a similar situation to someone else. I was like, you know what? I'm already doing that. I might as well do this too. Jumped in the room, we practiced, we went and played the show, good old Smiley Moose. And then, we were sitting at the bar afterwards, and I was like, this is actually kind of cool. Like, I'll like kind of see where things go.
And that surprised me like no other, because Majot and I were drinking at the bar, and we're like, okay, man, this is fun. Like, but what are we gonna do?
Right.
And literally in that moment, Jordan walked up and he was like, yeah, man, we should keep doing this. And I was like, man, dude, I've been trying to get him involved for like 3 years, and now starting from scratch, like literally, he was like, yeah, I want to do this, and that was that was a cool point.
Yeah, it just made sense. It all just kind of fell together, and then I think what really hammered it in after that is from that point on. But that was in like September, maybe.
Yeah.
From September to like January or February, we practiced every single day, like Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving. We were there like every day. We worked a lot because everyone saw it. We were like, yo, this actually could be really cool. Like, everyone here is talented. And so we just put it together. And I think that is like the reason that we're even here, because we all jumped in with a work ethic, and a lot of pieces of the puzzle really fit together from the top. So it was cool. Mm-hmm. It's a weird story.
No, that's awesome. That's a really cool story. So, moving forward, obviously getting into, okay, so now you're playing shows. Who the fuck are you going to play shows with?
Right.
Yeah.
And then it really feels like you guys, maybe my assumption, outsider, is like, hey, we have this thing. We don't know who to play with, or maybe we don't necessarily want to play with other bands or do like weird ticket shows and shit like that. Right. Let's just start up our own thing. Is that like kind of what it was?
Definitely. And we were kind of in a weird situation where like I was booking shows for a promoter, and every week he'd be like, well, you're running this show, but also 2 bands dropped off the bill. You want to play? And I was like, sure. And like we got to play with some great local bands, but we definitely came through that process of like, we'd be on the bill with like really heavy metal bands or like experimental rock bands. And it was great, man, because like we knew we were like doing all right when people would still like not walk out the door the second like we started trying to play hip hop. And we're like, oh, this is cool. But like, you kind of find like, mixed genre shows are great, but sometimes, it just doesn't work.
You can't mix too much.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can mix like steak and mashed potatoes and some veggies, but you can't put fucking like a scoop of vanilla ice cream next to your ranch dressing. You know what I mean? You gotta be mindful of what you're mixing together.
And we definitely had a couple shows like, because we like right out the gate, like we had a show like every week. Like once we got like going, like I don't think we had a weekend off for like 6 months or something.
That makes a lot of sense, because I feel like whenever I saw Back Alley Sound pop up, it seemed like there was already so much going on, and it felt like it was out of nowhere. Yeah. So I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I remember whenever I saw you, I was like, they're super tight. Like, it just seemed like you had been playing for a while. Like, it felt like you'd been playing for a couple years, but you'd probably only been playing for a few months at that point when I saw you.
Yeah.
And that's just nuts, but really obviously a testament to, if you put in that time, like you're practicing every day for a couple months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you practice for fucking 60 days in a row, there's some bands that don't practice 60 days in a year. And it can really show.
It definitely shows.
But I mean, it's also, not everybody has the ability to be able to do that. So it's awesome that you all have that ability, and you're just fucking taking advantage of it instead of fucking off.
We did at that point in time.
Yeah.
We can't try to pretend like we practice every day. It's far from that, but
we try to have someone in the room working pretty much every day.
Yeah.
Me and Miles jam a lot. And we're in other bands together. So we try and have someone in the room, even if it's like just Shark working with Christian on keys or something like that. Like, we want to try and have someone doing something every day, and pretty much like we usually have at least 2 people together.
Yeah,
every day.
every little bit like that helps, and I think it's good to have everybody in the band consistently communicating with each other, so everybody's on the same page in terms of things they want to do or ideas they have. It's really like easy to get disconnected from the people that you're in a band with, and whenever that happens, it affects everything.
Oh yeah,
like, it's tough to synthesize that initial like excitement when you're like in the very beginning and you're like, oh, this is fun, and then over time it's like, this is still fun, this is awesome, and I love all of you, but like maybe I don't want to hang out with you today, you know.
Well, it's like a relationship,
right?
You know,
like, so you get like different experiences. Like Christian, sometimes we'll sit down. It's a lot of Jordan and I, or sometimes Shark and I will sit down, and it's like, cool, we got this little like 10-second thing out of just hanging out. Yeah, and it became something cool down the line.
Yeah, you know? You're definitely right though. It's things lose momentum inevitably, like especially at the beginning of this year and coming out of 2018. We did so much last year between Back Alley Sound and Through River Circus, like the production thing that we have going on, that we were kind of burnt out and didn't know how to deal with that a little bit, which is I feel like everyone probably goes through it who is a band for a period of time, but it's an interesting experience to try and like, no, you had momentum right now, you don't, and you should. So how do you get that back?
Right.
But because you have to do something different. You can't do what you were doing.
And it's scary sometimes because like when you have that momentum and you're burned out, you're like, dude, we got to keep doing this. We got to keep doing this. And then you take a step back and you're like, yo, if the product is there and it's going well, like you don't have to beat yourself into the ground. Like people will still appreciate if you take 2 weeks off or a couple of weeks off before, stuff.
Most people are too busy to even notice that you're not around.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. We're sitting here micromanaging, looking down a microscope, but like, I think that's how it feels.
For stuff that I've done, the thing that always seems to kill the momentum is like my expectations getting out of check.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned at the beginning of the project, there's no expectations. You're just going for it. Fuck it. But then inevitably the business creeps its way into the party. And then like all of these expectations
and it wasn't invited, man.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't. But it's like an unfortunate thing that needs to be there in order for it to become sustainable at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like even for a party, somebody has to buy the beer. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be money or something to keep the party afloat. Yeah. So... But like those expectations and, turnouts of shows, events of shows, taking time off work, like all those things start to add up once it starts building. And it's really hard to manage all that. Yeah. But I don't know, keeping your expectations in check kind of help reevaluate everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree.
What's realistic. And like you can micromanage that to a point of like Joey from Grey Walker. I remember there was once, it was like the beginning of 2018. He was like talking about like, I looked over my work schedule and my vacation days and stuff I have going on, and I can play this many shows, this many days. Like this is like, had it all fucking figured out. Wow. But at the same time, it's like, well, I guess it's good to know that.
I mean, I would take that any day over the person who's like, oh, sorry, man, I can't make it last minute. Like, but that's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It always blows my mind when people commit to things but don't they're not actually committed. They just like they're like yes people to whatever, and then a couple days before the show like, oh sorry, I gotta work. Are you fucking serious? We've had this thing booked for 3 months. Dude. But I mean, sometimes shit happens with people's jobs. Like sometimes people have jobs where they don't necessarily have the most control over their work schedule. But most of the time I can just tell when somebody's bullshitting me. And like you know goddamn well it's like they're not a surgeon or something like that. You know what I mean?
Things are going to come up, obviously, like, if there's an emergency or it's like, oh man, I'm really sorry, I can't make it. Like, I feel really bad. But like, yeah, you can definitely tell when it's like, oh man, like couldn't make it, man, my bad. Like, and you've been, like you said, you've been planning it out for months, or even if it's just like, hey, I need you to fill in for this. And it's 3 weeks beforehand. Like, and you commit to that. And then you're like, oh, nah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I think it's, from promoting shows for as long as I have, and even doing this podcast, just trying to get people to come over here. Right. I mean, a lot of people blow me off. It happens. Really? A lot of day of blow offs. It just happens.
Yeah.
but it's happened so much to a point now when I know when somebody's genuine or somebody's just completely full of shit.
Right.
When they're blowing me off. And like I'm very like, okay, it's whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
If I feel like it's genuine, I'll reach out and try to work with them again. If I feel like
Right.
it's bullshit, I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Right.
And then I just don't go
Yeah.
out of my way
Right.
for them anymore.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of just the industry, though.
Yeah.
You're working with people. Musicians are probably like the flakiest people ever. Yeah, it's always hard.
And you get it in every genre, man. It's not
Yeah,
even a specific
you really
thing.
do.
Like for a while, I kind of thought like, man, there's a lot of hip hop artists that, you know, without using any names, I'm like, oh man, they're talking this big game and nothing's really going on. But you see it in everything. Man.
Yeah.
Like every genre of music, people that are just, you know, just kind of
People are just flaky in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Humans are just
Yeah.
not perfect.
Which to be honest with you, I'm kind of okay with that. It sucks when you're working directly with it, but from just like an industry success point, it's just like, well, hey man, if you're not, I'm gonna do it. Like
Sure.
I'm gonna
Right.
work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna play the shows.
Right.
But if you don't want to, that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
get out of my way.
Yeah.
Totally.
you know?
Yeah. I'll take any opportunity that you
Yeah.
don't want to take.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing is somebody's always going to be hungry, you know? So like, if you're ever like, if that's the way you're carrying yourself, somebody is going to be there and be like, dude,
Oh, you
I'm-
leaving them
I'm
hors d'oeuvres
hungry.
over there?
Right,
Yeah.
right. You're just letting that go. Yeah, man, I'm going to take that slot.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Right.
like it's cool to see that because you watch some artists, especially
Mhm.
in the city we live in, that they're like, yo, okay, man, you called me an hour before the show. I'm going to drop everything and I'm going to show up and I'm going to perform and I'm going
Right.
to sell it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I love seeing that shit.
Now, with Back Alley Sound and Three River Circus, I suppose more specifically,
Mhm.
let's talk a bit about that because I don't know 100% the origins of Three River Circus. Is that something that like was that started by y'all or was there like other people? Like I don't know. 100%.
It started out. Anybody want to chime in on the beginning of this?
So the whole idea of it was that me and Matt, who is our old bass player, were having a conversation about how their old band, like how it just like it really brought a lot of people together, and like it just like through like shows or hangouts, and it was just really interesting to like a bird's eye view of like all those connections and like from like just a band, and then that kind of like morphed into let's like make like a short film just about it, and then like it's like, well, like why are we like recapping on it instead of like capitalizing on like how that brought us all together? And then we're like just like we all kind of brought something to the table outside of music, so we were like, let's just like kind of have it play off each other in a way.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it became just like a collective utilizing
Yeah.
everybody's talents
At the very-
regardless of music.
At the very base of it, like I remember just looking at it and being like, yeah, this is really cool. Like we're going to try to utilize a situation where we're like, oh, we're going to have stand up in our house on Thursday nights and just like any weird thing we could do. Like we filmed videos in our backyard that like we never used for anything, but like it was just cool to be like, you know, organically just being like, we don't know what the fuck we're doing, but like, let's just give everybody a chance. And then
Mhm.
people started stepping up and more opportunities came out of it. And then we were like, okay, let's put shows together. We're like, you know, like Jordan put an event together at the Rex and he's
Yeah.
like, let's have a cereal bar. Let's have people playing N64 during shows and
That
stuff.
was
And
a
it's
fun
like
show.
Yeah.
just random stuff that like, we're like, you know what, dude, like it's awesome to run shows and it's cool to like get musicians together, but what's going to make it stand out?
Yeah.
You know, like what's going to be like, oh, you see an event and you're like, that's cool. I'm going to go to that. Like,
Mhm.
because I want to eat Frosted Flakes while I watch a fucking band
Sure.
play,
Right,
you know,
right.
like whatever.
Yeah, and TRC Three River Circus has like it's pivoted a lot. You know, it was gonna be like you said, it was gonna be just like a documentary video originally, and then it turned us into us having meetings every week, and then from there it was like, well, let's do YouTube videos, and then it turned into, well, let's do shows because like why wouldn't we? We're all musicians here, and artists. We have a lot of people. You know, we have art, we have musicians,
Yeah.
we have video, we have photo. It's like we've been calling it an artist collective that just kind of does whatever it can. It's
Right.
turned into a lot of event planning. But yeah, it's weird. It's just kind of, it's just an opportunity for everyone that we fuck with, that like, and is fucking with it, that is putting in the time. It's like, you get out what you put in. That's like been a motto since day one.
Right.
It's just an opportunity for us to be like, that's a cool idea. I like that. I'll support you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that show that Miles was talking about, that we did at the Rex, like I couldn't have done that without everyone else. You know what I mean? And same with everything else we've done. It's like, you know, we just want to see each other succeed. And that's been a really big goal, is like putting on people other than just ourselves. You know what I mean? Our friends around us, our creative friends around us. And then alternatively, like we really want to see Pittsburgh do well. We want to see like, if we can set up a show and get those people we don't play with normally to jump on and like start getting themselves into the scene. You know, we love Pittsburgh, and like that's just what we want to see be successful.
That's what I was going to talk about with, you know, curating the community that I suppose would be the Three River Circus community.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving the conversation into like the paranoia of the community becoming a bubble or
Yeah.
a clique.
Right.
Is that anything that you ever worry
yeah.
about?
Yeah. Most
Totally,
definitely.
man.
Absolutely.
We've been trying to break out of that, and like honestly, like I've wanted to kind of touch on this with you for a long time, because you know, like you've been in the scene for a very long time, and you know, like back in like 2009 and like those kind of days, there were cliques with bands. And then like it would be only, you'd see the same bands on every bill with every genre. And then, you know, there started being like, it started breaking away from that. And now it's like, it's so close to being like, it's like really free, and bands are like really open to stuff, but then you start seeing it fall back into the same things that it was, you know, a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, that can't exist. Like
Yeah,
everybody's just got to work together.
I think it's hard though. I mean, like as a promoter, cliques might inevitably happen just because you have a base of people that you can depend on.
Yeah.
Totally.
And if you're putting
Right.
something together, you just
Mhm.
want to hang out with your friends. You want to be
Right.
around people you can count on. You know it's going to be tight.
Yeah.
But
Right.
then like over time, I always worry about like what's the outsider perception of that? Like
Right.
does it become uninviting?
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
To a thing
do
like,
your
oh,
friends
this-
that only get out one day a week to go see a show, do they want to see the same 5 bands, or do you want to take a risk and like be like, well, we tried something and it didn't work? You know,
Yeah.
it's tough, man. You know, because you know, if you put certain bands together, they have the same friends, they've been to the same events, and they're like, totally, I'm going to go see X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You know, because every time I see them, it's great. You know, but you can't do that every week.
Yeah, we just released Long Gone like 2 weeks ago or so, and you know, for the release show that we had, we were like, well, we could use the same people that we always do, but like maybe we shouldn't, because that exactly, we don't want to be just held around the same people. So we invited, you know, we had Sierra Sellers out, we had My Favorite Color. And we played with Summer Camp a lot, and they kind of jumped on last minute. But yeah, what was that?
They're the homies.
Yeah, they're the
their
homies,
record
for
is
sure.
amazing.
Yeah,
man.
they're-
Yeah,
Period.
definitely listen to the Summer
Insanely
Camp.
good.
They're a fun group of gentlemen.
Right.
Yeah.
They were on the show several episodes
That's
ago.
a-
yeah,
If you haven't
we saw
listened to
that.
it, check it out.
It was good.
I watched it.
Yeah.
Although Harrison wore that Vegas Knights jersey, you know, so
Ooh.
Super beat.
Yeah.
no, they're good
Sports.
dudes, man, and they work really hard.
They do. They definitely do. But yeah, it's like I feel you, and I think we probably have like from the outside been like that bubble. We've had that like little click going on.
So I picked on you for it a little bit ago.
Right.
Right. I know. I was there.
Right.
But yeah, and
I do the same shit though.
Right.
It's
Right.
Like, it's I don't feel like I book enough shows
right.
for it to like be as obvious, but I do
Right.
catch myself doing it when I like think
Right.
about having a show. It's like
I think you do a good job.
You
They're
do,
the
yeah,
first-
you do definitely.
there's
switch it up.
Absolutely.
Like you put Spish on your release show, and to me
Yeah.
that was out of left field. Like they're amazing. Don't get me wrong, but like I was really surprised. I was like, oh, cool, okay, like
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely It's a hard thing, man, because like what you said earlier, when you can rely on someone, you're like, I know they're going to show up on time. I know that they're going to bring people. I know I'm going to have a good time with them. I know they're going to put on a good performance. And
they're going to do everything else outside of an actual show,
Right.
Which is huge.
All the promotion.
They're going to promote it. They're going to do funny videos about it. But it is funny how that creeps back in, like without, even if you have the intention of we're not going to fall into a bubble, it starts naturally happening. And it's like, oh, shit. Like,
the other problem too that I've noticed is outside of the bands, like just people that come to shows, people just come to hang out. If you book a show that's too diverse or you're bringing in people that your friends don't know, they might not come because they don't give a shit about learning about new bands. They're going to see you.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, so like if you have sometimes if you have that right lineup with you and your friends' bands that always bring out people, that's sick. You can have a good night.
Right.
Because how many shows do you go to where you see like, even if a band did great and they got like 50 people to their set or, whatever number, like they show up and see their friend's band and they leave.
Yeah.
And that's been like the oldest problem since the, the dawn of everything.
It's really hard. I remember I played with a friend of mine one time and he had brought a bunch of people out to the show and I was playing after him. And as soon as he got done, he ran up to me. He's like, get your shit on stage and start playing immediately. Cause everybody's going to leave if you don't make noise. If you start making noise, give people at least the opportunity to maybe, but if you even spend that 15 minutes to just try to change over, it's not going to fucking happen.
I'm going to go smoke a cigarette. I'm going to go get a drink. And I'm going to go smoke our tab and we're going to go to the next bar.
Oh yeah. Like you're outside of the fucking Moose smoking a cigarette and you look down and you're like, oh yeah, Sal sounds good right now. And then you go down there and then it's game over.
Just a ghost.
I think a key factor in preventing those types of things from happening and booking those new bands that you don't normally play with is you have to go out and actually see them. Like you have to go and support the scene, which is hard because we play shows a lot, you play shows a lot, and then we're busy with a million other things. And so it can be hard to actually go to shows just to enjoy it.
You're writing, you're working on promotion stuff, you're just working on work, keeping a roof over your head type shit. Maybe you have a significant other and you gotta go to the movies with them or do whatever, that kind of cute stuff. You gotta juggle all these things.
Right. It's like if you can go see those other artists and scope them out for a minute, you can be like, yo, Sierra Sellers is crazy. Like she's so good. Like you should come out and see her. Like she's gonna be on this show. Like you should definitely check them out. Cause then all those friends you have that know you're gonna put on a good show, you can be like, yo, we're playing, but like this person's really good. Like this other person that's playing with us. So
yeah, I feel like that's something with Greywalker. We've been really fortunate in being able to get a fan base that trusts us. So whenever we're having bands that play with us, like I think people know that like we're not going to have bullshit bands playing with us, so that it's come out to the show because we're putting together something nice. It's not going to be half-assed.
Hell yeah. Yo, by the way, congrats because for your set with Greywalker at Millvale last night, I caught the end of it and like that was fire. Cool. Y'all killed it. You were like channeling demons while you screamed up there. I was like, dude, this is exactly what I wanted. So yeah, no, it was really dope. Everyone was about it. So
we had a really fun time. The whole community center was like a mosh pit. It was
it was huge.
I saw some videos from it from last night. I was like, whoa, it was fucking pretty intense.
That was cool. That's probably like the craziest that room's ever been, period.
Yeah, probably. It's the craziest it ever will be. It felt like so high school to like play in the community center again. It was sick though.
Like it was Teen Oasis.
I loved it though. It was super tight. But back on the event shit, I think that what it really comes down to is making sure you're putting together an event that people are going to want to come out to.
Yeah,
I've been talking about this a lot on the show recently, and how bands sometimes are promoters, like they book shows for themselves and they're not thinking so much about the people that are coming out, and that's really what it's all about.
And you're selling an experience, man. Like, I think that was our initial goal with TRC was like, how can we make sure that even if you go smoke a cigarette or something, like you want to be involved, even if there's 15-minute changeovers and it takes way too long and we're pulling our hair out over like, well, let's get this going.
We give people a reason to stay there.
How can we keep people in the door and be like, I'm not bored?
Yeah,
because you got like a 10-second attention span of like, you can open your phone and be like, oh man, my buddy just sent me a snap. Let's go down the street and do this.
My
like,
fuck buddy.
Right.
That's got a picture of a butthole. I'm out.
Right, exactly.
That's my tombstone.
But that's a tough.
Holy shit. Yeah, no, it's true though.
Real
man.
life though.
Like,
Yeah.
There's buttholes everywhere.
bro. Oh my god. Oh my. Yep. That's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yeah, man. Syphilis is real. It's all there.
Oh, it got real dark now.
Another thing though, that I've noticed that TRC has been really good at with events and planning is use of, I'll air quote, alternative venues.
Yeah.
Not necessarily
Hell yeah.
the most common spaces where you would see a show,
Yeah.
which I think in some aspects can be super inviting for people that don't normally go out to shows. But at the same time, it can be really hard for people that are used to going out to shows to be like, what the fuck is that place?
Right. Yeah, I think part of that is like, I've been saying it for a minute. Pittsburgh's definitely on like a renaissance kick. Like, we have had really awesome stuff come out of this city in the past, art and music wise. And it's like really heavy right now. We have so many good bands, so many good musicians, good rappers, good artists. The creative scene in general is like really big, but we don't necessarily have all the venues for it.
Totally.
And, but the thing is, like, anything can be a venue. I mean, and we're starting to see a lot more places who don't normally have music start to just, we have a corner that's open. Like, we could,
Right.
like, literally
We have a building.
Right.
yeah, like we could do something. And that is kind of the fun too. Like, you can have a really cool, fun time in a place you normally wouldn't,
I think like things like Millvale Music Fest are a testament to that. You see all those, I mean, some of those places are music venues, but a lot of the places like the community center don't typically host music.
You get
Mhm.
Elks Lodge and all that stuff.
Would it be that unreasonable for them to like have something there once or twice a month? And, they could probably charge like $300 or $400 for the room.
Right.
They're not using the space. Like, here, take that extra $400 check. Like, nobody's going to destroy your shit.
Right.
Yeah. What's cool though is when we're in a prime time where they haven't caught on to that yet, and we're still like, no rental fee. Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe what is it? The Elks Lodge that Deutschtown uses.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last time I played there was like 250 people, and I talked to the owner, and he was like, "Dude, we never have shows," and it was cool to see like they kind of like perked up, and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna have like even if it's once every couple months." Like they started holding shows, and I'm like, "Cool, man!
Yeah,
like that's dope."
We did that Grey Walker video game tournament there.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great space.
That was tight.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's that kind of thing. I mean, that's it. Like, when you start coupling things that aren't necessarily like a show, like honestly, I'm going to be real. In the past, 8 years, 10 years, like if you're going to shows, a lot of times it's boring as hell.
Yeah.
Like you see a band and they might even be good, but it's like they play their set, they switch over, they play their set, they switch over, they play their set. You stand there and you're like, cool. That was good. Cool. And it's just like, you're competing with a lot of stuff, man. You're competing with Netflix. You're competing with phones.
Oh, damn.
It should
the
feel
bar,
nail
like,
on the head. Yeah.
yeah,
No, I feel like going to a show shouldn't feel like you're going to somebody's band practice.
right.
Right.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like it should be a show. It doesn't have to be like a fucking spectacle, but
yeah.
Right.
there's just nuances of things that where you can,
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it has to do with like, first off, where are you having it? And then using the space to your fullest advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like there's a reason why I don't book shows at places like Goose Keys
Yeah.
or the Rock Room.
Right,
like I have
yeah.
nothing like I've
Great
gone
place,
to shows at those places.
Yeah.
I've gone to great shows at those places, but for what I do and my crowd of people, not interested.
Right,
I can't there's nothing in the world that I could possibly do to make those types of spaces inviting for my crew.
Right.
But the bands that maybe typically play those spaces might have a hard time doing something at like the Fun House at Mr. Small's, where I could
Right.
fucking kill it there if I
Right.
were to put something together there.
Yeah.
So it's just utilizing,
Yeah.
like thinking about the venue before you book it,
Mhm.
thinking about your crowd, what you can put on there, and then just not dropping the ball, just
Right.
Yeah.
putting in a little bit of extra effort. Because it's like, why not? That's the fun of it. But maybe for some people, that's not it. Like, how many bands have you played with that show up late, leave early, you know, bring like, they put like, you know, one fucking sticker on the table, like, this is our merch.
Yeah.
And like, it's,
Right,
it's
right,
fine.
right.
Like, you know, but like, it's like,
shit.
if you're not going to be there to like, at least try to interact with some of the bands, say hi, hang out, and like
Right.
make some new fans. Why are you even bothering to load all your gear up in the
Right,
and
man.
drive across town and
Yeah.
waste your day doing this?
Yeah.
And it's not.
What do you think
it's
you're
not
gonna
even
get out
just
of it?
you. Even if it's just one other person in your band, if somebody's just running a laptop, running tracks, or you're a full band, like, you know, just care a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
I think
You're an entertainer.
I think
Yeah.
it shows without necessarily being like vocal.
yeah.
I think it shows when bands are like that, and I think
Definitely.
it rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The audience might not be conscious of it, but they know.
Right.
Yeah, they know
It's something you can feel even if you can't put your finger on it. And like then on top of that, you have ego that comes into play where it's like there are people that are just acting entitled and they're like, oh man, I'm not, you know, I don't even know how to put it, but like you
Yeah.
see people come in and they don't care. They didn't promote the show and they come in acting entitled like they're owed something.
And then they
like-
complain about it.
and then they leave as soon as their
Yeah.
set's over
Yeah.
and then they
Yeah.
complain like,
that show sucked.
you know, there's been a few events that we've done without using any names, like where people show up for their set and then they leave.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait, man, we like really put some work into this, like, and we want you to be involved. Like, come hang out with us, dude.
Yeah, right.
You know, but then they're like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
You just can't like fake a genuine presence. Like you have to be in that set. You have to be in that crowd, and like people can tell when like you're just there, or if you're like actually there. Like it's just this like
Yeah.
like unnatural thing where like you can just like you can tell.
Or it's a very natural thing. It's like human
Right.
nature at its
Right,
core. Right?
right,
Yeah,
man.
you
That's
just
why,
know.
like, I know there are a lot of people that are into just like taking whatever gig they can,
Mm.
but like, I'm the total opposite. It's like if somebody asks me for a show, it's like, okay, I want to know like where it is and who's all playing.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if it's with like people I don't like, I don't want to play the show.
Right.
Definitely.
Like
Definitely.
it's like, and it's not even like a thing where it's like, oh, I don't want to be around people I don't like 'cause I'm better than them. It's just like, no, because if I'm playing a show, I want to show up early. I want to hang out. I want to
Right.
talk with everybody. I want to be a part of the event from start to finish.
right.
That's-
And if it's a bunch of people I don't like, there's no reason for me to do that to
Right,
myself.
Definitely.
That's also a sign of experience, man, because when you're hungry, like you will like eventually learn the lesson of like if you get put in situations you don't want to be in, you're like, oh man, we shouldn't do this. And like one of the things is like you should always be professional and always conduct yourself as such. But like this, one of the best lessons is like, I don't know, for some reason, Pearl Jam stuck out to me is when they learned when to say no. Because for the longest time they were like, yes, 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 yes. And then they found themselves in situations where they were like, we shouldn't be here. You know, and it's like you got to know when to say no and when it's the right opportunity, you know.
Yeah. What's interesting is I think you have to go through the dichotomy of both. You have to start out and kind of take every opportunity you can because you need to just play a lot. Unless you really have the perfect idea of what you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to be, and you know exactly. You have it all figured out, which really no one does at the very beginning of like their musical career.
Does anybody really know what they're doing?
Yeah, right.
At any point,
You know, you have to cut your teeth a little bit and just play a lot. And I think we went through that, but then we were like, all right, we need to like take a step back, know what we're getting into. And that a lot of that was when we really started to curate our own events, and make sure that we knew what was going to happen. But yeah, there does become a point where you're just like, dude, this is not really worth my time. You know what I mean? If I'm not getting any gain out of it, you know, sometimes we don't get paid. Sometimes we do get paid. But if we don't get paid, we got to get something else out of it. You know, it's got to be a good crowd or maybe some networking connection, whatever it is. Like, or even if we're just hanging out and supporting someone else that we really dig. Like, there's a lot of different reasons it could be a good gig, but. You know, you really do have to know when to say no. That's a really good point.
even yesterday was nice. Like we didn't perform yesterday, but
Which was
like
great.
we hung out for like 5 or 6 hours, and we talked to you see
lot
every
of people.
person you've ever
Yeah.
met.
Right. At
Millville,
Millville,
like,
yeah.
Totally.
And
was
the
great.
networking, it was like we were cracking up. We're like, dude, we're not performing, and it's so nice because we got the opportunity, like, because we're not worried about setting our
Gear,
stuff up,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
setting up the merch table.
That's
like,
why I'm not playing Deutschtown this year.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great
Nice.
opportunity because then you're not stressed out, and you can actually like focus
Just
on your
fucking hang
goal
out. Yeah,
and
dude.
just hang
Hell
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, it was 2 years ago. I did all of it. It was like we did Millvale, Deutschtown, Rant,
Right,
like some
right.
like there was so much, like so many of those like chaotic parking, too much chaos
Yeah,
events
yeah,
going
yeah.
on.
they put
fucking
150
exhausting.
bands on a bill that probably fit like 85.
Uh-huh.
You
Right.
know, and
Super exhausting. So, we've talked a lot about shows, curating the community, the bubbles, at a click, is it not? Doesn't matter, whatever. Okay, but we've gone to the show. Let's just say we've played the show. It was a good night. Let's talk about the real shit.
damn.
Where does Back Alley Sound go for some food after a gig?
Doce.
We all disagree on that, but
Doce
damn,
Taqueria.
Doce is awesome.
Yes, Doce and Southside. It's like my staple for every moment, whether it's after the show. I just woke up. I had it
Plus
2 hours
Riverboat is
ago.
there.
Yeah, the people that work at Doce are really the reason. I mean, I love their food. It's literally like my favorite tacos, period. But the people there are really awesome, so that makes a big difference.
We
That's my
are
vote.
Southside scum.
Yeah,
Shouts
that's
I
to
mean,
true.
Doce, Benny's,
Yeah,
Yo,
Benny
Mike and
Fierro's.
Tony's, man. Come on,
Mike,
let's be real.
Mike and
about
Tony's definitely. Mike and
Nadine's.
Am I the only one in the room who
Piper's?
eats fucking gyros?
Definitely
What the fuck?
Piper's.
Piper's is
Chip?
awesome.
Pub chip shop, yeah.
Chip's huge.
Man, Burger King's right there too, man. If you want to be fast about it.
Bro. All right, you got me on those spicy nuggets, so I can't
yeah,
really
you
say
know.
anything. They're real cheap.
Yeah,
so if you're poor, it's damn. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good stuff in Southside.
Yeah.
Definitely those ones like Doce, Benny's, Pub Chip. Those are kind of my staples. That's
Yeah,
And
what I eat
also,
the most.
like,
so.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like completely discredit Sal's, man. You leave D's at 3
Right,
o'clock in the
right.
morning, you can still get Sal's.
Yeah. It keeps you
The
alive.
only way Sal's is
Keeps
good is
you
if you are on another planet in one way or another. That's the only way.
right. Yep.
You ever
Right,
eat
man.
Sal's sober?
No, I
Never
haven't.
in my
I definitely
life.
have not.
Yes, actually, the
Yeah.
one and only time I've had Sal's was
Oh,
so.
wow.
Then
Yeah.
you're ruined from the start. Like,
That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like
Right.
That's
it's
not my
like
jam.
eating Sal's sober is like waking up next to something you didn't expect. You know what I mean? Like it is just
Yeah.
rough, dude.
Yeah, it's not great,
It is real rough.
Right,
but it
for
keeps
sure.
you alive.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
no hate. What
Yeah.
about any Cambodican people?
I
know-
I've been
I know.
trying to go there. I
Everybody
haven't had
likes
it yet.
South. You're all South Side, and I know that's a big South Side spot.
So I love like that type of food, like Cambodian and like anything like that. But there's this really sweet, and I like don't eat a lot of sugar, so it's not really my jam.
All right,
Yeah,
that's a really respectable opinion. Yeah.
but I mean I've eaten there a lot.
Yeah,
so,
fair enough.
I've
Tight.
had my night there,
Yeah,
but I've found my other staples. Like
Uh-huh.
Right. It's also like a lot of stuff is just really not realistically affordable to like consistently eat.
Mhm.
Like a lot of the places we're talking about are locally owned, and like you can go in there with $8.
Right.
yeah,
right,
we get it,
right,
Burger
right.
King. We get it.
Oh, shit! It came back. All right, now I'm gonna start drinking Lion's Head.
No,
But
trust
you
me.
go to Nakama or anything like that,
Right,
or like
right.
any
Yeah,
place.
that's some bougie shit.
And
dude.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
love sushi. That's great, but like I don't want to spend $35 eating fucking
Yeah.
sushi.
Oh, hell
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, again, we're the Southside scum,
Right,
so
like-
we don't have money.
Week's worth of Nakama is like 2 guitar pedals, bro. Fuck that.
Exactly.
That's
So
so
you
true.
get it, man.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
dude. You want some fucking sushi or some clean delay?
The struggle is real, man.
I've eaten a lot of gecko too. Gecko's really come out of the cut as like a solid
Yeah,
know.
that one on 18th is horseshit though.
Yeah, no,
Right,
you gotta go to
You gotta go to the
get
real
super
gecko.
gecko.
But I do wait like 20 minutes for a cold brew every time.
Right. Yeah. It's not great.
That's some patience, man.
Trash.
20 minutes.
Yeah, that's dedication,
I need
bro.
it,
You
dude.
literally could walk
They're probably walking
shop.
down
It's
to
on a bus
Starbucks and
line.
bringing it back.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh God, Starbucks.
Yeah, the Mega Gecko is the way to go.
Yeah.
Plus they have booze, so
And they're nice. Their staff is pretty friendly.
yeah, they're pretty nice.
They're not pissed off all the fucking time.
Yeah. Well, they don't get robbed like twice a week.
Right.
Realistically.
Fair enough.
I've seen that 18th Street Gecko get shut down so many times because someone robbed it.
Right.
So.
Now, moving on. All right. If back alley sound was a food item on a restaurant menu,
Oh.
what would it be? I have an answer for you, but I want to hear what you think what back alley sound
A
in food
fucking
form
trash
is.
heap. Something gross for sure.
Damn.
I am gonna say a grilled cheese with a cigarette in it.
Damn, I was going
Yeah.
for something way more introspective, but I don't even want to answer
I'll rock
after that. That's
yeah,
perfect.
Grilled cheese. Real plain and gross as well.
Wow. I was like, my goal was like to be a glaze. Like you can put it over something and it just fits, but apparently we're fucking
Not even a meal. Just a glaze.
right. We're just that's all we are,
Just
man.
a condiment.
We're a really solid marinade.
Oh, shit. Oh,
Tender as shit.
I don't know. I'd say like a really shitty burger
Yeah.
with all the toppings, but damn, they suck.
Overcooked and there's a pierogi on top, Just
Yeah.
because we're from
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
There's
I
some
don't know.
fries on there too,
Yeah. I could see this wasn't my original answer, but I could see you being like a real over the top, like Permanis type sandwich.
I could see that.
All
I
right.
could see that.
My
Is
original
everything
answer was just gonna be like a kind of like something to the equivalent of one of those like KFC bowls that just has like all that shit. But like, and it's like real good.
Yeah.
It's like easily accessible and just really good.
Right. We
Okay.
turn into what's the sandwich it doesn't have a bun? The KFC sells.
the
It's
double
just-
down. The KFC, the double downs.
We're just too much and we'll give you a heart attack, man. You're gonna die, but you know what? Like, you're all right. on the
I
way
don't
out,
think
man.
you're too much. I wouldn't say that.
We're just trash.
We're just trash.
So now bringing it back to music and creativity,
Mm-hmm.
we had mentioned with Three Rivers Circus that was something to bring together people of all different creative backgrounds. But with you three in particular, do you have any creative outlets outside of guitar or writing or drums or vocals? Because you mentioned that you
Yeah.
took some time to do some.
Yeah.
That's the way to put it.
I don't know. I'm trying to get more into art. Like before I ever played music, I was really into art, and then I started playing drums.
What kind of art?
Like drawing.
Drawing. Okay.
Drawing. I used to be really into like graffiti and tagging and stuff like that. I was never really good at it, but it's
Careful,
like
the
something.
Pittsburgh police are watching right now.
Oh right, yeah.
It's real easy to be into graffiti before you're 18.
Right, for real.
Uh-huh.
Byron,
Yeah.
if you're listening right now, take notes.
Yeah, I'm like within the past like probably month I've been trying to get back into like art and drawing. Actually he kind of got me back onto it because he was talking about it, and
I had a really convincing speech about how like we should draw in our spare time because like you got to get better at stuff, and he was like, hell yeah, and I haven't even started.
Oh my god, yeah, that's yeah, I've been trying to jump more into that just because, and see, we were talking about this, is I personally have the like flaw that anytime I have like some creative thing that is like, you can build your skill at any creative venture and get good at it. I have the habit of trying to be like, all right, and then I'm gonna like sell it, I'm gonna like make it a business and shit, because that's just like how I'm hardwired. And then he kind of like made me realize, like, dude, you just got to do it for yourself. Like, if you're not just enjoying it for you,
Yeah.
like, you're
Yeah.
never going to get to that point, first of all. But
Right.
like, what even yeah, you just got to enjoy it. So that's kind of what I've been on. I've been trying to just like relax.
That's relatable. I feel like now it's second nature for me to like try to find a way to somehow monetize everything in my life, and like I'm fully aware that it's bullshit. when I think about like when I was the happiest being creative, it was before I fucking knew anybody. Like I didn't know, I wasn't playing shows all the fucking time. I didn't have like, I wasn't paying attention to my fucking Google Analytics and all this fucking horse shit. You know what I mean? I was just a fucking I was just, you know, some fucking 19-year-old.
Right.
I just fucking drew. And I made some beats,
and it's awesome.
And I played, and we hung out with my friends on the weekend, and you know, we go fucking paint under a bridge, and then make a shitty rap song, and that was it. That was tight. Like nobody else cared but us, but that was the fucking best.
Right.
Yep.
And now it's all like, you know,
I totally feel that.
How's this gonna fit into my Instagram
Right. Exactly, man. Sometimes you look back and you're like, oh man, that was so pure, and you're like, oh, that was dumb as shit, but it was fucking great. Like that's like the highest you ever like feel, and then. You know, you start micromanaging things, but you also still have little moments of like, this show went well, or this thing was like perfect. Like you got that little spark back, and it's just enough to get you through like the next 6 days. You know, like,
I think the best and worst thing that happened to me is learning about like how music is a business.
Oh, totally. Like, getting behind the curtains, the worst, dude.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, you understand now. It's like, wow, this actually is a realistic like lifestyle. Like my 7th grade teachers were wrong because they literally sat me down. They're like, "It's not you shouldn't do this." Like,
I can make just as much money as you,
right?
Yeah. See, that's what
you
they
don't
won't
make that much.
Yeah, fuck you guys. But then that happens. Everything becomes like, well, how can I make money at it? It's like, dude, can you just? I want to just enjoy something. That's kind of the kick I'm on. I need to learn how to enjoy shit.
Right.
Yeah. But what do you guys have?
Yeah, what about
do you guys do anything?
You do anything outside of writing? Dope rhymes.
I like design and layout a lot. I like dabble in like photography and like videography and like a lot of like Photoshop stuff. I do like a handful of our flyers and stuff. Just he kind of
he kind of
a lot of
more graphic and digital based stuff.
Yeah. I cannot draw to save. It's horrible. It's been a giant hindrance.
Maybe you should start working on that, bud. Right. Like you inspired me to do.
The thing that's like wild with me is like, I mean, drawing was the first like real major creative outlet that I had.
Yeah.
And I still draw from time to time, but my biggest issue now is that I don't know what I want to draw.
For real. Yeah.
Like,
I feel that.
Like the most, like, it's like, and if I do draw something, it's always just something really absurd. Like the T-Rex Mona Lisa thing over there.
Yeah.
That's insane though.
That is beautiful.
Well, that was an idea.
What's wrong with being absurd though?
And there's nothing wrong with being absurd, but it's like my brain just doesn't go in that place anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm always thinking so... I don't want to say I'm like thinking serious all the time, but it's just like when I think about like, what am I going to draw? I don't have any ideas. And then it just
logically,
then there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like I could make the time for it easily. And I feel like it's still like something I could do, but I just don't know what the fuck to do.
I've been on this kick where whenever I pick up a notepad and a pen, I've been just trying to draw the shapes that I see, like beer can, cylinder shape, and make things 3D and as realistic as possible. Just
geometrical.
Yeah.
But there's a beauty in that, man. Especially like, you know, if you work a 9 to 5 and then you're in the music industry, so many things are structured. Like, I think it's really cool when people are like, this is my one chance to like not follow any rules. Yeah. Just do whatever comes to mind. And you can try something and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, maybe you get it, maybe your friends don't fucking get it, but who the fuck cares, man?
Yeah. Right. I feel like, you know, it's like, you know, I want to have something to say. And like, whereas like in like visual art, I don't have it anymore, but with like music, it's like, I can't shut the fuck up. So I think that's just why I like pursue that so much more than the visual stuff, but the visual stuff, it's like, it's still there. Right. It's still in my bones. It's just, I just need an idea. Yeah. But I mean, obviously I still do like graphic design stuff for like anything that's like music related.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's so rare for me to just like create a piece of visual art that has nothing to do with anything that's like Sykes related.
Yeah.
Something that's just there to exist.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. But
yeah, that's the difficulty of just trying to do something to enjoy it. It's like, how do you not do something that's just going to further? Because you're the same way. Like, you just want to further what you're doing. Like, you want to make moves forward. But
and that in a way becomes like a double-edged sword. Like,
yeah,
you want to always be working forward and working on your product and doing everything you can to like craft it. But at the same time, like if you're making art just to enjoy it, like that's beautiful. Pure things come out of that. But like then you get in your head, you're like, oh, well, this isn't doing anything. Like this is just, you know, that's just your head going sideways. And that's where art is beautiful. But like, it's like, oh, this isn't helping because I have an event to promote or something like that, you know, like, or it's not reaching my goals.
For a really long time, I struggled with that significantly. Like I couldn't sit down to watch a movie. And this is coming from somebody that I was the key manager at a Blockbuster Video for a couple years. I loved movies. Super into film, super into TV. I mean, I'm sure you couldn't tell, obviously. But like I got so focused on the drive to better my career or whatever that I just wasn't making time for all this stuff anymore. And then a few years later, I realized that like as terrible as it sounds, that extra effort really didn't make any difference.
It doesn't.
Right.
It
Like
doesn't.
it's just I'm just stressing it's like the majority of the time I'm spending it actually stressing myself out and not doing anything productive. You know, like
I feel that, bro.
It's like I'm only productive when it's like this natural thing. So it's like, you know, now I'm allowing myself to start enjoying things again. I finally started watching Game of Thrones.
Damn.
I never watched an
I thought
episode.
you were against Game of Thrones.
I've never been against Game of Thrones.
Well, no, just you said you never watched an episode.
I never watched an episode just because I was in that mindset. Like I can't do anything.
Totally.
But I'll tell you this. I started Game of Thrones 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm on the 4th episode of season 6.
Jeez. Oh, damn, bro.
And
that's a lot.
I've been doing just as much as I do anyways.
Yeah, see, that's the wild thing.
Like you can totally like do all this stuff. I'm just not like, I don't know. As I feel like I was just like all the time that I'm spending telling myself I can't do things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think I realized that maybe I've just been like staring at a wall for hours at a time, just completely blacked out.
Right.
Like I don't know what I've been doing with my time.
And
but
that's the wild thing about it, man, is like, is that like taking an hour to watch anything on Netflix or anything, like, you know, whatever you want to do to like relax. Like sometimes it feels like, oh man, I'm not working on my goal, so fuck this shit, like fucking whatever. But like that little extra effort, like I feel like if you just relax and your sanity is a little more in check, like, and you're like, oh man, I'm not going completely crazy right now. Like you'll be more productive in the like 70% of the time where you're working on something. As opposed to just go, and just like go off the rails and like just be like, man, I'm not getting anything out of this, and I don't feel great about myself, you know? Like,
I feel like if I'm not happy, how can anybody around me be happy?
Yeah.
And if the people around me aren't happy, why are they going to give a shit about anything that I'm doing creatively?
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely
like
true.
it's like you could put up a front to some extent of being like totally miserable and then like convincing people that you're not, but that's no way to live your life.
Boys. We get it.
It's no way to live your life.
It's true.
Right.
Yeah, no, I feel you there. I mean, I feel like I'm coming out of that phase. I feel like the beginning of this band, I was really that person, and these guys will definitely tell you, like, I was always super stressed about things because I never let myself relax. I was always either at work or I was doing stuff to make things like move forward, and it just stressed me out all the time. And now I'm finally like, wow, like life can be pretty cool if you just like chill for a minute and you can still get everything done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can.
Time management.
If you're productive about your time, time management. Like
I feel like it's really funny. You maybe can relate. Maybe you can relate with this too, but I feel like you in particular can probably relate with this, where it's like somehow like one shitty night or like 2 hours of a bad night somehow changed the course of our lives for like a year.
I'm gonna walk out right now, man.
Like just like one stupid little thing that just you know, and then like all of a sudden you start like you're hyper focused on that. Like, I don't
Right.
want that to happen
Yeah,
again.
that happens.
Right.
That definitely happens.
That's a wild
You've probably seen that on my face at shows before.
Right.
Yeah, man. That like, I have a hard time of once I'm stressed out, like taking that step back.
That's why I like talking to you.
Yeah, that's no, and honestly, I think that's a really cool thing that we as like a hip hop band, I feel like we have like this advantage over just rappers because like these dudes keep me in check. You know what I mean? Because I have the things that I'm good at, but that is not one of them. If I'm stressed out, like everyone knows it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Miles is like, dude,
Same.
why are you stressed
Right.
out? Like, it's gonna be fine.
And it's like my
I'm
favorite
like,
thing in the world because I'm always internally stressed. And I do my best not to show it, but I definitely show it all the fucking time. But
You
like,
do better than I do.
I like when Jordan is
People
stressed
see it
out,
on my
and I'm
face
like, "Hey,
real
buddy, I
fast.
love you. Everything's okay."
And I'm just
And
like,
running events gets fucking stressful. You know that.
Oh yeah,
man.
yeah.
Like,
It's but like being able, it's like I lack the strength to take the step back and realize that
Yeah.
I'm being stressed about just a bunch of adults with instruments in a room.
like grown,
Like,
fucking,
we're not doing, you know what I mean? Like,
grown fucking adults.
like I'm
man.
like fucking like, you know, freaked out to the max. Like
Yeah.
like somebody on a level of
real.
like somebody I love is in the hospital or something like that.
Right.
But no, it's like, oh, you know, the bass player for whatever fucking
my
band is
God.
late, and it's gonna throw my whole
Right,
event off
right.
5 minutes,
Shit,
and now
yeah.
I'm
And
that
like
shit
fucking
sucks.
off
Yeah.
the rails.
That
Yeah.
shit sucks. Like, I don't know. Like, after stressing for so long, I try to look at it as like, what's the worst fucking thing that could happen? Like, at the end of the day, if you know, you don't want to disappoint people, but like, if an event falls through, you know, people go home. They're going to go to the bar. They're going to still live their lives. Like,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
want to give them like everything, and you want to put on a beautiful event. And it's easier said than done. But like, what's the worst that's going to happen, man? You know?
The worst thing that can happen would be nobody's fault but yours. Like if
Right.
you
Right.
were to fucking
Right.
freak out and make it a spectacle,
Right.
people will remember that.
Oh, yeah.
But if you just have some fucking event that's a bomb or something goes wrong,
Right.
just take a step back from it. Everybody will fucking forget about
People
it.
Yeah.
are still going to
Yeah.
go to work on Monday. You
Yeah.
know, man?
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't matter. in
it's
the
not
end.
going to.
It's a blip.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah, you
blip.
don't want people to be like, oh, the event was all right, but man, Miles is a fucking psychopath. You don't
I
need
mean,
that.
they knew that long beforehand, but you know,
Miles killed a guy.
it was the sound guy.
Stabbed a man in the heart.
But we didn't chat about you, Miles, and
Oh,
anything that
man.
you do
Oh,
outside of your, you know, your 6-string
Oh man,
silkiness.
Lion's Head.
Yeah, Lion's Head. I've been trying to personally bridge the gap between like how being in a hip hop band, like you see other hip hop bands that are using laptops and running samples, and I love how they come up with that. I'm just trying to like work into samples and put layers together. Like I just bought that Boss 505. It's like a tabletop looper,
Yeah.
and I've been having a blast being able to like put the shit that's in my head.
Is that
I
the thing
can't-
that like Mark Ryobolt dude uses? Do you know what I'm talking
I'm not
about?
sure.
Yeah, it's got
yeah.
the like big play
The
button.
big-
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's got like
It's
it
like
blew,
that nerdy dude with the glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah. That like funky dance stuff.
it blew my mind that it
Yeah.
has like 30 minutes of memory. So like you can make a loop for like ever and just go nuts. So like
That's tight.
You know, I'm just trying to have fun with that because coming as a guitar player who was trying to stumble into like making drum tracks and stuff, like I just want to see what I can like come up with and maybe play a little less guitar.
Yeah.
You know, kind of be cool like you. You know?
Hey, we're all humans. 10 fingers, 10 toes.
Mhm.
Well, I guess, I mean, maybe not everybody, but if you don't, that's okay
Wow.
too.
Story for you.
That's okay. That's okay too.
You didn't know Shark has 7 toes.
I could show you.
I think I've heard about this before.
Yeah.
It's a. It is not divided how you think it is.
You've just got your pinky toe on one side.
I'm full of
Ugh.
surprises.
Don't take your shoes off, please.
Yeah, that's awesome that you're getting into the looping though.
Yeah.
Tried, man. You know, it's
I
fun.
think that's been I feel like for Back Alley Sound as like us as musicians, because a lot of us we're coming from like rock backgrounds, you know.
Right.
Shark
Yeah.
is I feel like Shark's the one who like really holds it down with like a hardcore hip hop background. But like what we've played has always been rock. I was in a metal band before I
Right.
was in this. And it's like a really cool part is like retaining the creative process. We get to try new stuff. We get to do things we've never done before. So the gear becomes like a really big inspiration.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I've watched him upgrade his setup. I've changed like my setup very drastically. And like, you know, all the new toys you can kind of get into.
And like for me, it's like the most innocent, like how you talk about like how little things that would happen, like when you're 19, like stupid things that come up, like you have that little spark and like restarting over in a genre that like, you know, I'm not going to pretend like I know dick about hip hop. Like I love listening to it and I love doing research but it's like, you know, when you listen to punk or you listen to whatever you may be into, you do that for long enough and like, yeah, you might have an encyclopedic knowledge of that genre, but like coming into a new thing after playing music for so long is fucking beautiful.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
really
think
fun.
like even like having an encyclopedic what is that word?
Encyclopedic.
Encyclopedic.
That sounds like a disease, bro.
And we all have
Having a well-established knowledge of something still doesn't mean you know what you're talking about.
Right.
So
right.
it's like,
Dude, you can argue about punk rock till you're fucking blue in the face, you know, but what's punk rock? You know. But I don't know. I get very excited.
Insane Clown Posse's punk rock.
Right.
Yeah.
You were the
Fuck yeah.
that's going on Wikipedia.
Hell yeah. Juggalos for
Maybe
life.
not traditionally,
Right.
but
But who's to say what the fuck punk rock
socially?
is, man? Yeah.
socially,
Yeah, oh yeah,
I
definitely.
think that they're very punk rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those guys make money, dude. We played
which maybe isn't very punk rock, but
no. We played Rex like the day after they were there, and we were talking to the staff, and they're like, it took us like the entire night to clean the Fago off the walls, which was crazy. But they're like, dude, they made like 40 grand in merch sales because people were buying. They have like football jerseys and hockey jerseys, and everyone was buying like 5.
Which you can't
Crazy.
shit on that. Like, you know,
You
like
can't, but like
even if you don't understand where a market is going, like
yeah.
it's like, hey.
they've done a couple interviews recently that are really cool.
Really?
If you're super interested in just like how to be sustainable and curate a crowd as like a DIY artist, like they're really, really smart fucking dudes.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
they're still
it's
going.
worth listening to those if you're curious. They're on YouTube. If you have a hard time taking the face paint seriously, just like listen to the audio. Don't watch it. But I think that they're on some other shit in terms of their business sense.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Which is
They
pretty
also
cool.
have longevity, which you have to respect. Like, same with like, you know, look at Slipknot.
Right.
How long have they been going? And they've adapted in so many ways. And I love that fucking band. But some people look at like, you know,
Mask.
what the fuck is this, man?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
There's like a lot of power in being able to be a band for so long. Like ICP was talking about this, where it's like they've been around to the point that they've had like people that started coming to shows when they were kids, that have had kids, that brought their kids to shows,
right.
And now their kids have had kids and they're bringing their babies to shows.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah.
And it just like sticks within.
Yeah.
And that's
the
huge,
generation.
man. Like at that point, you can't even argue. Even if you don't agree with the product, like that longevity is like huge.
Yeah.
You know,
Argue with
like
the
it's like
success.
cool, man. That's awesome. That's an experience that really is not fabricated over like any other act. Like who the hell is a band?
It ain't
30
happening for
years?
We the Kings, I can tell you that much.
Right, man. We still gotta
Circle back.
I wish let's circle back, man. I really want to know if
We're
that dude-
coming for
if
you.
that dude still has hair, I'm gonna feel better about life. But if he's got a spider web tattoo on the top of his head, man, I'm gonna know, like, you know, life was a little rough for him, man.
Hard left turn. Shit. Oh.
So, you know, kind of making some closing statements here on the episode. What can I expect as a fan of Back Alley Sound in the next like 4 to 6 months? What are you working on? Any big projects or is it just kind of in the middle of a figuring it out moment now, like you have been since you started?
All right, man.
Shit.
That's cool.
We should just end it there.
Yeah, this interview's been great, man.
That was
We gotta
rad.
go. Oh
That
fuck!
was so sick.
No, but for real, what do you guys
sweating now?
Well, now we're gonna go to the spot and rethink our fucking lives.
Nah.
You know, so
we're filming a music video in June.
Tight.
So we have that on the books. Guess which song it's for?
surprise.
And then we're definitely trying to put out something else at the end of the summer, early fall, like whether that's another single in EP and then an album shortly after. Hopefully it could be an album at the end of the summer. Who knows?
Right.
But it won't be.
It won't be.
Hey, you know,
It could be. It could be.
It won't be.
In
It
full
won't be.
disclosure, it took us about 3 years to get Modern Modesty together. So trust me, I know how
That's
long
good.
it
Yeah.
takes to get shit together.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard.
I'm
But
too underdressed for this party.
oh shit!
But I'm glad to hear that you're working on new stuff. I definitely look forward to hearing more of it. I mean, I've seen you live enough to know that you do have the material. It's just a matter of,
Yeah,
I don't know, just getting in the studio and cranking it
Right.
out.
really, it's paying for it.
Right.
We're poor as fuck.
We're broke. So if you feel
Yeah,
like
we're broke.
donating,
Yeah. To the
you can
shark.
send
fund.
all-
Do you, 'cause, like, do you self demo at all? Any stuff?
Ish, like we have like phone recordings,
that's
but
the
none of
goal
us have,
moving
like, real
forward. Is we're
computers.
currently like with Kiwanis Sauer and Sam, who plays bass for us. Like we're working towards the goal of like kind of recording how I don't know if you listen to Starfucker, but like they do all their albums where they demo everything and then they record drums professionally and that's it. And that's how they put out their records.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of
yeah,
our goal.
we're just trying to streamline it. We
Right.
just didn't have the means to record very well.
Totally.
But we're kind of now coming into a lot more ease of use of equipment. So
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah, I've been interested in, like, I've been tracking like a lot of live demo stuff for Grey Walker and stuff, and I've been interested in just tracking stuff with bands to do it. So if you guys would ever be interested in just
Hell
tracking
yeah,
something just to
definitely,
do it, just to see what
Definitely.
happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I don't.
For
It's,
sure.
it's not a monetary thing. It'd more or less just be like a, hey, let's fucking hang out.
Yeah,
I'll bring my stuff over,
yeah,
and I don't know if it sounds cool. Cool.
Right.
yeah.
If not, then we all learn something.
Right. Hell yeah. Yeah, we're definitely into that.
Cool.
100%.
definitely.
Let's
It's
do
a
it.
thumbs up.
Tits up.
Tits up.
Hits up.
Tits way up.
Is there any,
2019.
any big shows come? I don't actually have no idea when this is going to be released, but any big shows over the summer?
Yes. We always play. So yes.
Okay, but nothing like exceptionally big.
Youngstown.
We'll be
Oh wait, can we announce that yet?
yeah.
Are we allowed to?
We're allowed to announce that? I don't think they have yet.
I think
Yeah,
they've
management's gonna be pissed.
announced a date. I don't think
I
they
don't
Wait,
think
hold
they
on one
announced that
second.
We're on it.
You guys argue about that. I think I can actually tell you what date I'll be uploading this.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So it might
Let's
Oh,
keep
yeah.
arguing then.
yeah, just keep
I don't-
arguing
I
about
don't think
things.
they've
Okay.
released.
Because there's
Rabble,
nothing we
rabble,
love
rabble.
more than arguing. So,
peas and carrots. Peas and carrots.
yo, Akira was a great anime.
I feel
really
like
respect
it's
the
Yeah,
fine,
Akira
right?
was really good.
It's in a month and a half.
Yeah, we're good.
Well, if they haven't released
All right.
it,
So this is not going to be uploaded until June 17th.
Oh
So-
my god.
oh, yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
right,
no,
we're good. Yeah.
yeah. So
All right.
It's
so-
like a month from today.
So June 22nd
Come out, man. This
week.
weekend's gonna be
This week.
on
fire.
Saturday.
not in
week.
Pittsburgh.
We're in Youngstown at the Block Party, which is a festival that Reviving Real and Band Creative and Bear Cave. I think that's right. I'm so sorry if it's wrong. They all put it on.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's
Youngstown's
Yeah.
music scene is sick.
that's
Yeah.
that's what we've been hearing.
Yeah.
we want to get over there really bad. Yeah, but other than that, yeah, we play in Pittsburgh all the time, so
Right.
just keep your eyes peeled.
Keep your eyes on the prize.
Yeah,
And where can
Miles
people
is the
find you on the
prize.
internet if they care?
At Back
if
Alley
they-
Sound.
If
Yeah,
they care, they
wherever.
can text me.
All
Like, cool, man.
all social medias at Pack Alley Sound. Long Gone is on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, YouTube, Napster.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Dude, MySpace.
I swear.
It's there,
MySpace.
man.
I do not think it's on
Beat.
MySpace.
Well, we don't matter if we're not on MySpace.
Total facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Word.
Word.
I want to thank you all for coming over.
Thank
Jordan,
you.
Shark, Miles, Back Alley Sound. A quick fuck you to the 2/5 that aren't here of your
Hell
band.
yeah.
Fucking
If you
douchebag.
don't
Fuck
know,
'em.
now you know.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
You're very
Thank you,
welcome.
man.
You're the man.
Thanks for coming over. I like you guys.
We like you too.
And
We like
I don't know. I have nothing else to say. That's it.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
And we are done.
And scene.
Perfect.
Nice.